is Brian Donovan, and this is your Martial Minute. Okay, today's lesson is how to defend yourself without fighting. This is a lesson that I teach a lot of my kids and in seminars, women's self-defense seminars, and all my beginning classes for adults as well. And there's three main concepts, there's three main parts to this particular lesson. Okay, so the first one on how to defend yourself without fighting is to use your brain. Your brain is your number one weapon in self-defense. Now, how do we use our brain as far as self-defense? Well, you need to think about putting yourself in specific scenarios. For example, simple things like going to certain places where you know there will be trouble. Hanging out with certain people that you know get into trouble. Okay? If you see someone you don't, or you're near someone that you don't get a good vibe for, you get a kind of a nasty gut feeling about that person, then move away from them. So you're trying to avoid the situation altogether. Now, this is not the same as living in fear and just avoiding absolutely everything, okay? I'm not saying lock yourself in your mom's basement and play video games until you're 30 years old, and if you are, get out. What I'm telling you is be cautious, okay? In the military, we always had a saying, stay alert, stay alive. And what that means is look up from wherever you're walking. So don't just look to the ground as you're walking in front of your feet. Don't just concentrate on your cell phone, which we do have a tendency to do. Pay attention to your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings, and you're going to stand a better chance of not getting into trouble. The second concept of this lesson is to run. Your number one technique in self-defense is to run away. Now, all martial arts, in my professional opinion, have some type of value as far as self-defense. But in the beginning levels, they have very little to no value to you. In fact, in my opinion, you learn enough in beginning classes, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing, Krav Maga, karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, it doesn't matter. Whatever school you're at, whatever art form you're learning, in the beginning levels, the first probably several months, you're learning just enough to get yourself hurt, okay? Now, that's not to say that you can't defend yourself. What I'm saying is, again, if you don't have to defend yourself, then don't. If you can escape a situation, a negative situation that you feel that you're possibly in harm's way of, then run away. That's your best. Forget your ego and hightail it out of there. That's going to be your number one technique as far as how to defend yourself without fighting. Now, the third part to this lesson is a little bit kind of playing a psychological game with your potential or would-be attacker. So, if I'm being approached by someone who's being very aggressive towards me, it doesn't matter mentally, physically, verbally, if they're being aggressive and I feel that I might be in some type of danger, I'm going to do a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to take 3 big steps backwards, okay? 3 big steps at my height, at almost 6 feet tall, is going to equal about 8 or 9 feet from me, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hands up. Now, if you look at boxing, kickboxing, any type of sparring, your fighting stance, it looks something like this, okay? You have your weight distributed, you have your hands up, your fists ready, yada, yada, yada. Now, in a self-defense situation, I'm going to do the exact same thing. As I take my steps backwards, I'm getting ready into my fighting stance. Next, I'm keeping my hands up, tucking my elbows in slightly so this way I don't take a shot on the ribs, and then I can still cover myself if I need to with my forearms or my hands. I'm not making fists though. And the reason being is, again, I don't want to fight necessarily, okay? If my attacker is just looking for a power trip over me, if they're just looking to feed their ego, then let them. I don't care. I don't need to feed my own ego. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into my posture. If I need to angle off, I need to check and make sure my surroundings, that I'm not going to trip and fall and get hurt or something like that if something does go down. I need to take my 3 big steps backwards as well. So this way I can cover enough distance. If I have 7 to 10 feet between me and someone else physically, I can not only be able to thwart any attack that they're going to have, meaning they're not going to be able to reach me. They can't kick me, they can't punch me, and they're probably too far away even just to run and tackle. Meaning I got a little bit of a head start to be able to move and to get out of the way to avoid that situation. On top of that, I'm going to be able to see everything that they're doing. If you're standing nose to someone, like we've probably all seen someone on a YouTube video somewhere, you can't see what their fist is doing. You can't see what their knees are doing. You can't see what their feet are doing. One of the reasons you can't see is you're probably starting to get tunnel vision because the adrenaline is starting to pump through your body and because you're too close to the situation. If I put about 10 feet between me and someone else, I'm going to be able to see all of their joints, meaning I'm going to see their starting points, their shoulders and their hips, and I'm going to see their waist moving to be able to notice if they're going to attack me, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my hands up, and I want to keep my palms facing away. I want more of a, hey buddy, leave me alone. I'm sorry I offended you in whatever way. I don't want to fight. This is more of a passive way to defend yourself, opposed to this is telling the guy, yeah, bring it on, I'm going to sock you in the mouth, okay? We don't want that. This is going to encourage our attacker to fight back, and we don't want that, okay? Or to initiate the fight, and we don't want that. From here, next thing I'm going to do, again, just like in boxing, I'm going to tuck my chin. If you need practice tucking your chin, take a tennis ball, stick it under your chin, and that'll tell you how far. Now I'm looking at my opponent. This looks, I tuck my shoulders up, I have my posture, it looks, I'm playing possum, it looks like I'm scared. And that's fine. I want to look that way to him. Again, I'm playing more of a psychological game, and if he's just going to yell at me and scream at me and call me a whole bunch of names, then so be it. If he never throws a punch, if I never throw a punch, we both win. And that's what we're looking to do. So again, the third part of this particular lesson on how to defend yourself without fighting is you're going to take 3 big steps back. You're going to get into your fighting stance, basically. You're going to put your hands up, so this way you can cover yourself, okay? Palms open though. Tuck the chin, and you're going to stare at them in the center of their body and their solar plexus. Now, there's going to be a lot of schools of thought and tell you, it's like, no, stare at their eyes, stare here, stare here, stare here. I like staring here, and the reason being is if I'm staring at your center mass, I can see what your shoulders and your hips are going to do, and that's going to let me know, and it's just the way I've trained, that's going to let me know if you're about to attack me, whether throwing a punch, whether running at me, trying to tackle me, kick me, whatever it may be, okay? All right, so my name is Brian Donovan with Thai Martial Arts, and this was your Martial Minute.